We're here at Hive Lighting with Jonathan. Now, you guys are working on always new technology. You know, there's a lot of familiar technology out there. We've got tungsten, LED, fluorescent, HMI, but plasma is still a new technology. I remember talking to you 4 years ago about it. You guys have been developing it, really perfecting it, and introducing it to the market, and constantly bringing the price point down so it's more attainable to the average shooter. You guys are introducing a brand new product that, again, is bringing the price point for plasma lighting into a whole new market.
Absolutely, yeah. So plasma lighting is really best thought of as the energy efficiencies of LEDs, but the high output daylight of an HMI. But what we're introducing here at NAB 2014 is our new Hive B, and the B is a really exciting light for us. It's an open face style light, gives you a 100-degree flood field, which sort of is very similar to your 1K open face tungsten. The big difference obviously being very low power draw. It only pulls 275 watts, so you can plug a number of them safely into a wall socket. Also, we have a 10,000 hour bulb life that's vibration resistant, so you're not going to have bulbs popping on you. Then there's the significant reduction in heat, which is really a big deal both in terms of your workflow as a shooter, but also for the talent that you have on screen. Especially if you're doing small interviews in tight spaces, you're not going to heat up that office, that apartment, that building that you came into as sort of a guest, but you now can feel very comfortable that you're going to get clean, high quality light without making anyone uncomfortable. Finally, they're also flicker free, which depending on your shooting applications can be very useful. It's a 1x1 size, but it actually gives you 5 times the output of, say, a 1x1 LED panel. It's also very similar to some of your brighter and bigger fluorescent units.
And one thing I noticed too, the quality of the light, it's very smooth. You know, when you get a panel, it's all these tiny sources, and you diffuse that, try to get rid of the sources. Now you're cutting down the intensity. So by having a smooth and natural light just coming out of the source, you don't have to worry about getting those multiple shadows out of it.
Yeah, the quality of light is really one of the great advantages of plasma. It's a single point source bulb, so it's much more similar to our actual direct daylight or the tungsten incandescent bulbs we love so much. And so you have a single point source, a clean, crisp shadow, but also a really beautiful quality of full spectrum daylight. So you're not going to have any green, magenta shift or spike that you'll see with certain LEDs. It's going to have actually a very warm, pleasing tone. And actually we've added a feature that we're really excited about, which is the tunable daylight. And what we can do with the tunable daylight is basically shift all the way from a 4800 Kelvin down to a 6500 Kelvin, obviously with 5600 in the middle, that allows us to sort of match the daylight we might be finding during the course of the day, or just to give either a cooler or a warmer feel depending on our choices, our creative choices and aesthetic desires.
All right, well, take us through the fixture, how it sets up and how it's used.
Sure, absolutely. So basically we have a fixture here. It's as you can see, it's sort of a 1x1 but thicker. It has the bulb here, and it has drop-in accessories, so you can use standard 170 millimeter 6 5/8 accessories. So your chimeras that you already own will work with this. You can also use different soft boxes, photo ones as well as high heat ones. You can also have drop-in scrims that we have to control your output, as well as diffusion frames and color frames to add even more color if you want to go down to 3200 Kelvin. Then on the back, you'll see that there's a place for a plug here. There are 2 options for your power supplies. You can do an AC only power supply, easy to work with, gives you a 15-foot header cable, allows you to remote that power supply down on the ground, plug it right into the wall. You can also do an AC and DC power supply, which allows you to plug your 3-pin XLR battery packs directly into the light to run it, which is a great advantage, especially if you're going to be doing run and gun stuff and you don't have time to find multiple power sources, especially if you're working outside where this daylight option really does shine. Finally, you have your color tuning wheel. So on the back of this, you have a tuning wheel that shows you a 4800, a 5600, and a 6500 position. In between those, you actually are able to tune throughout the entire Kelvin scale. So it's not a fixed position. You actually are able to push it a little bit warmer than 4800 and a little bit cooler than 6500. We just recommend that as being the area where you're going to still get a full spectrum, clean white light, just with a slightly different character. Finally, though, we did add a moonlight all the way at the end of the dial, and it's very steel blue, rich, deep, sort of blue moonlight effect. And obviously that's more of an aesthetic choice. You might use it for certain setups, probably not for your interviews per se, but it does give you that option, you know, in a pinch if you need to make sort of a stylistic choice. It's something that can really be a fun effect without having to go buy extra party gels.
Absolutely. And you're not cutting down the output at that time too.
Exactly.
So what price point does this come in at?
So the head itself is $19.95, and then you start having your different accessory options. For the power supply, that's the simplest and the cheapest, which is the AC, it's $495. So basically for about $2,500, you can walk out with a working head, 10,000 hour bulb, and the power supply. But it's anywhere sort of in the $2,000 to $3,000 price range, depending on the different accessories. But again, about $2,500 will get you going.
Great. All right, so what about for people that need a little bit more output and a little bit more throw?
Absolutely. So for about $1,000 more, $3,500, we have our WASP Plasma Par. It's a really powerful option for using only 275 watts. You're going to be able to throw 50-foot candles over 100 feet away. So that really gives you a lot of punch. It's a beautiful daylight balance source, but again, low heat, very high output, a lot of flexibility, and again, you can come in either an AC only, AC and DC. With this option, we also have a DMX control system if that's something that is needed, but you also have that tunable daylight. So really, we're able to bring you something as low as 2,500 all the way up to sort of 6,500, depending on the different prices you need to hit and also the output you desire. So there's really a lot of flexibility with plasma technology now, all bringing you that high reliability in terms of the bulb life and the really top color quality.
So like for HMI lighting, it's finicky. And it is still expensive, and you have to deal with ballast and stuff like that. What kind of fixture would this equivalent to if you were to get an HMI?
Sure, absolutely. So our WASP Plasma Par is really the equivalent of a 400 watt HMI par lamp, and so for a lot of those fixtures, you're looking at between $4,500 to $6,500 for the kit once you actually buy the bulb and the ballast that is needed with it. For $3,500 here, you can actually get the full head ready to go, and for about $4,500, you can get a kit that comes with lenses, scrims, hard rolling case, and a stand.
And now, are these available for rental in a lot of the houses or outside?
Absolutely. So depending on where you are, we have rental inventory right now in both New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. We also have the ability to ship all over the country. So if you do want to try out before you buy it, something that we often want to do, you can always contact us at Rentals at Hive Lighting, and we'll find a way to get your production the lights you need.
Great. So whether you are an owner-operator or you're going to be operating, looking just to rent a great light, take a look at Plasma Lighting, take a look at Hive Lighting. Thanks again for your time, Jonathan.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Special thanks to our sponsors for making our NAB coverage possible.